So, if you're even thinking about buying a home in Singapore, you're going to want to listen up. The entire rulebook, it's about to get a major rewrite. We're talking about a huge shift coming in 2026, and guess what? It's all designed to put more power right back into your hands, the buyer. Let's dive in and break down exactly what's changing. You know the feeling, right? You walk into these stunning show flats, you flip through the glossy brochures where everything looks absolutely perfect. But there's always that little nagging voice in the back of your head, isn't there? The one that's asking, what am I not seeing here? What kind of surprises are waiting for me after I sign on that dotted line? Well, that gap, the one between the glossy brochure and the hard reality, it's about to get a whole lot smaller. There's a new set of regulations kicking in from 2026, and they're specifically designed to arm homebuyers, people just like you, with way more clarity and, frankly, more power than you've ever had before. And look, this isn't just some minor tweak to the fine print. We're talking about a fundamental shift toward real transparency. It's basically kicking off a whole new era for anyone buying private property in Singapore. Let's start with how this is going to change your experience right from day one. Yeah, this really gets to the heart of the issue, doesn't it? On one side, you have the dream you're sold, the beautiful images, the promise of an open concept layout. But then there's the reality, and that can hit you pretty hard when you finally get the keys and discover that the wall you dreamed of knocking down is actually structural, or there's a utility shaft creating some weird, awkward corner you never ever saw coming. And this isn't just some abstract what-if scenario. I mean, listen to this mortgage advisor. This happens. It's a real and surprisingly common experience. These are the kinds of expensive, soul-crushing surprises that completely derail your renovation plans. And this is precisely what these new rules are designed to stop from happening. Okay, so how exactly are things changing for the better? Let's begin with the very first thing you usually look at when you're shortlisting properties, the floor plan. This is where your search is about to get a whole lot smarter. So in the past, floor plans could be a little, let's say, vague. They'd show you the space, sure, but not the critical constraints that you really need to know about. But from 2026, that all changes. Developers will now have to provide plans where what you see is actually what you get. No more guesswork. The level of detail that's now required is, honestly, a game changer. You're going to see exactly which walls are structural versus which ones you can hack away. That alone makes planning your renovation 1,000 times clearer from the get-go. You'll also know the exact location of things like refuse chutes, so you can avoid any potential noise or odor issues. Even stuff like void areas, generators, and the placement of aircon ledges, it all has to be clearly marked. It just means you can finally make your decisions based on cold, hard facts, not just a pretty artist's impression. All right, so the floor plan is now crystal clear. That's a huge win. But what about the folks actually building the place? A beautiful design is one thing, but quality workmanship, well, that's what really stands the test of time. So how do you check that? This is where something called CONQUAS comes into play. You know, it's the national standard from the Building and Construction Authority, the BCA. It's basically an objective system that scores a project's real, tangible construction quality, from the little details in the finishes all the way to the external works. The easiest way to think about it is like a quality report card. It literally grades a developer on their finished work, which gives you a super straightforward, standardized way to see how they stack up against each other. And here it is. This is the other big game changer. Developers will now be required to show you their CONQUAS scores and their project track record for the last 5 years. So for the very first time, you can objectively compare developers based on their proven quality, not just their marketing budget or brand name. It completely levels the playing field and puts the focus right where it should be, on quality. All this transparency up front is fantastic, but the new protections don't just stop once you've signed the papers. Oh no. The new rules also seriously beef up your rights after you buy. So one of the most frustrating things for new homeowners has always been the defects liability period, or the DLP. You know, that's your 1-year window to get the developer to come back and fix any defects for free. The big problem was, under the old system, that 1-year clock could actually start ticking down before you'd even stepped foot in your new home. Crazy, right? So here's the fix. Before, the DLP clock started just 15 days after the payment notice was sent out, but developers had up to 21 days to actually give you the keys. You see the problem? There was a mismatch. Now, that buffer is being extended to 35 days, which means the start of your warranty is aligned much, much more closely with when you actually get possession of your home.
That's an extra 20 days. Now, it might not sound like a huge number, but trust me, it makes a massive difference. That's 20 more days of breathing room, giving you the time you rightfully deserve to get a proper inspection done without feeling totally rushed off your feet.
And this quote just highlights exactly why that change is so critical. You had families losing precious warranty time just because of how the administrative timelines worked out. It wasn't fair. This new rule fixes that and makes sure you get the full benefit of the defects period you're entitled to.
And your power as a buyer gets a boost in other ways too. For instance, developers will now need to get your consent if they want to make major changes after you've already signed the agreement. Plus, the threshold for claiming compensation if your unit turns out to be smaller than advertised, that's been tightened from 3% down to 2%. It's all about giving you more assurance and a much stronger safety net.
So when you put all of these different changes together, what does it actually mean for your home buying journey? Well, it's pretty much a completely revamped experience from top to bottom. So let's just recap this new journey. Before you even think about committing, you've got access to crystal clear floor plans and a developer's quality report card. Then, during the launch, your choices can be driven by hard facts, not just slick marketing. And finally, after you buy, you're backed by much stronger protections and fairer timelines. It just creates a more transparent, more buyer-friendly process from start to finish.
And the timing of all this is really key. These powerful new transparency rules are coming in right as the government is making sure there's a high and steady supply of new private homes hitting the market. That combination, more choice for you, more information to make that choice, and potentially more stable prices, is creating what might just be one of the most favorable windows for buyers that we've seen in years.
So when it all comes down to it, the balance of power is really shifting. The question is no longer just, what are they trying to sell me? But instead, what am I truly buying? With more information and more protection than ever before, the power to make a really confident, really informed decision, well, that's now firmly in your hands.